Do you ever ask a direct question and they won't give you a direct answer? Don't you just hate that? Hi, I'm LDake with Kale Realty, your Illinois licensed broker. And in the real estate world, sometimes that is accurate. Stay tuned and you'll find out why that is and some ideas of what you can do. Okay, and we're back. So yeah, there are some questions that we realtors, we can't answer for you. Here's some of the most common ones that we get. Are there any people like me around here? What are the schools like? Did anybody die here? Is this a safe neighborhood? Who lives upstairs? Would your family live here? Okay, so just as a friendly reminder, I am a licensed professional in real estate here in the state of Illinois. Therefore, I do have a duty to be honest. However, if you ask me a question that I'm not allowed to answer, well, I'm going to tell you that. And I know it's frustrating, especially when you have a question that's a make or break deal on the place you're looking at. I get it. So here's some of the answers as to why, and also here's some ideas of where you can get the information that you're looking for. Okay, so the first question that was posed, is there anyone in the area that's like me? Honestly, I don't know how to answer that because I really don't know what it is that you're asking. I mean, it could be something innocuous like you're asking about hobbies or something, or, my goodness, it could be something else. So here's what I always tell folks. When you find a place that you kind of sort of think that you like, go through the area slowly. Don't just drive through it, but walk or roll or however means you have to go through an area casually. Absorb what's going on. What kind of vibe are you getting? And hey, check out the alleys too, because at the end of the day, you got to take out the garbage sometime. Am I right? And also check out like the Google Maps. That way you can see what the estimated times are for the trains and the buses to see if it's going to work for you for your day-to-day. Find out what the hours of the local grocery store are for you, the ones that you like. I can help you kind of dig up some of that stuff too. And also, I always advise folks, if you've got a little time, check out the same area at night and on weekends, especially if you're going to be using street parking. That way you know what the situation's going to be like, okay? Okay, someone asked about schools. So here's the thing is when I have a listing, I'm going to mention what the school district is that's supposed to go to that property. And that's information that I've collected from websites such as Great Schools. However, boundary lines are changing, sometimes year to year. So it's always important to do your own due diligence. Make sure that if you really, really like that school, that you're still in the district, okay? And you're still in that school of that district. We don't want to have any mix-ups. Also, like I was just talking about the Great Schools, that site, they do have a lot of folks that are chiming in and giving their own reviews of the school, and it has the ratings and things like that. So that could help you determine if that's where you'd like to go. Okay, so the next question, someone was asking if there's a death in the home, or people ask, is this place haunted, or things like that. Well, in the state of Illinois, that's not something that real estate professionals are obligated to disclose. It doesn't have anything to do with, the structural integrity of the home, or whatever, the apartment or the condo, in fact, it stigmatizes the property. That's kind of a negative, right? So now, if the seller or the landlord says I can say something, well, then if you directly ask me, I will. But if they say not to say anything, well, and you ask me a pointed question, did somebody die here? Well, all I can say is I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, but there are sites that you can look that stuff up. Okay, somebody was asking about if this is a safe neighborhood. Well, here's the thing. Anywhere across the country, you talk to a real estate professional, they are not going to touch that question with a 10-foot pole. And the reason why, it can very well be misconstrued as discriminatory. Yeah. And I know, it's super duper frustrating because this is a make or break question for a lot of people. As I mentioned earlier, check out the neighborhood. Don't just drive through it, but walk or roll your way through it. Take it in slowly. Stop at a coffee shop. Go to the local grocery store for a couple of things just to see how you like it. Figure out where the local hangout for you would be. If there's a movie theater, nightlife, some green space. And then, of course, you can always look up, demographics, crime data, that sort of thing on many, many websites. And then, of course, too, realtors such as myself have access to RPR reports. We can send that over to you too. Okay, so someone's checking out an apartment on the first floor and they ask who's living on the second floor. Well, here's the thing. Standard rule of thumb is talk about property, not people. And it's for the same reason as the safe neighborhood question, because it could very well be misconstrued as discriminatory. Therefore, I'm not at liberty to answer that question, even if I know who's up there. Okay, and now we got one of those questions that's really more biased than anything. I've had several people ask me this before, well, would your family live here? And here's the thing is, that doesn't have any relevance to you. It's just a personal bias. Again, I'm just going to refer you back. Walk through the neighborhood, roll through it, however it is that you're going to take in, the vibe. If it's going to work for you, think about things like, what do you do all day? Where do you go to work? What do you do after work? How do you spend your free time? Where do you go on weekends? Do you need parking? Is street parking okay? If you're going to use the street parking, come by it a couple different times and see what it's like, if it gets tight or not. Find out about permit parking, things like that. But, otherwise, if you're asking me if my family would live there, that's something I can't answer because it really doesn't hold any weight to, if it's going to work for your family. So I hope that helps. Okay, so I hope you found this informative and it's actually helpful. Of course, I do welcome your questions, concerns, and comments. Please feel free to reach out. And of course, I'm always available to you and your referrals. Again, my name is LDake and I'm with Kale Realty. Want to call me? 773-697-4474. Thank you.